everybody. Welcome to Coming Up Roses. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Kelly, and today is Saturday, January 21st, 2023, and this is episode 88.
88. So it's been a couple weeks. We decided, like I said, we were going to cut back on the number of shows, the year of less. Boy,
Which has not been a year of less.
Yeah.
There's been less of nothing,
Yeah.
less peace and quiet.
Yeah. Here's a interesting little thing.
Be careful what you ask for, people.
Yeah. As we talked about in the last episode, my father-in-law, your dad, was in the hospital for a week, or almost a week, I guess.
No, he was in there for 2 days. It just felt like a week.
A whole week, yeah. In a COVID-infested hallway at Virginia Beach General, and lo and behold, your mom got the vid. COVID. Yeah.
I think we kind of knew it was going to happen. Like we were just waiting for that other shoe to drop.
Yeah, which one of us was going to get the COVID? And it was Mom.
They got home on Thursday, whatever that first week of January, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, I guess.
Yeah, because our last show was on the 7th.
Mom tested positive for COVID a week from that night. So happy joy. Thankfully, she had very mild symptoms. She had some kick-ass doctors who called in some good medicine. She stayed quarantined for 5 days away from Dad and the rest of us, which is why we're back at our original
our
studio
new studio
here.
Is
Our other studio is the spare bedroom, which Mom has been sleeping in. So we don't want to record in there right now.
We moved our TV in there so she'd have a TV, and I had to get a wireless box from Cox because the coax in there doesn't work.
We don't have a cable outlet in there.
So, but the wireless box seemed to be working pretty well for her.
Seems to work fine. I think we just keep it when we move that TV back into our room, and then if this ever happens again, then we're good to go with a TV in there.
Yeah.
So I mean, Mom did good. She basically felt like she had a cold. I don't think it ever really got down into her lungs, thankfully.
And it was a really good trial run for when she's gone to California, because your dad did really well. He's getting up and around. He's getting up, getting dressed on his own. We rigged his bed up with a bar so he can use it to help get himself up. We've got
physical therapy coming twice a week.
They got him getting up and walking around once an hour, and that's been pretty good for him. He seems to be he seems to be getting around better now.
I feel like he's been getting around better than he was before. But with the physical therapy twice a week, I think that's just going to help, and it'll all be good. So health-wise, everything's in our household anyway. Right now is on the even keel. Yeah,
your mom's got 2 negative COVID tests. So she's symptom free. She feels a little, like, when you're recovering from something like that, you get a little felt like you've run over and you're just, but not bad.
Yeah.
Hitting us up for Starbucks all day. So.
Just dropped some not quite so subtle hints.
Yeah.
On a Starbucks run, which I'm sure we'll be making soon.
Yeah, we will. Right?
we when I say we, I mean Kevin. We have gotten, and we do have some people in our lives who have gotten some that are fighting some cancer diagnoses, some pretty heavy hitting cancer. So I've always been a person that I'm not necessarily like an organized religion type of person.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up Catholic and I've received all my sacraments and whatever. But I'm not really big on organized religion, and questionable on things throughout different periods of my life. But I think one thing I have learned, or that I have come to believe within the last couple of years, is that when people band together and pray and show support, and you are just in people's thoughts, it does something.
I'm 100% certain of that.
And so I always feel like a little bit like a fraud when I say I'm praying for you, because
Yeah.
I'm not like on my knees next to the bed praying. That's
Yeah.
just not how I pray. But
Well,
it
yeah.
is more just like putting positivity and my thoughts and everything out there. And we have some people in our circles who are
Yeah.
fighting off some stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, I get reminded that our situation, although it felt crazy to us because we're not used to those emergencies happening and, you know, being in the hospital in a hallway for 2 days and dealing with all of that. And, dad going through everything he went through. And then mom then getting sick. To us, it felt huge, but like in the grand scheme of things and what people can be going through and what we have gone through with cancer and all, it's just a little blip on the road of the beginning
Yeah.
of our year here.
I mean, locally, we've got a story that's in the local news that's way more severe, and that's the 6-year-old boy who shot his teacher. But there was a lot of support for that teacher.
Continues to be a lot of
continues to
support.
be a lot of
I
support
have
for
her
that
initials
teacher.
on the back of my badge.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
She went home the other day.
yeah, she got released from the hospital. If anything, what I hope this does is open the eyes of the higher ups in these school divisions that we can't keep ignoring these violent young kids.
Yeah.
And I know people say, oh, you teach kindergarten, how sweet, or you teach first grade, how sweet. And yes, they are sweet.
Most of them are.
But they have trauma in their life, and they have mental illness in their life, and they have exposures to things in their life that I've never was exposed to at that young age. And
they're not
kids
getting
can't
proper
handle it.
emotional
They don't.
support. So.
Right. And it's time we do the right thing rather than what we've been doing, which is try and accommodate and appease and accommodate and appease. And it's not working.
No.
It shouldn't take a teacher getting a first grade teacher getting shot in the chest in the middle of class to open up eyes. But unfortunately, that has what's happened. So now that division is installing metal detectors in the doorways. And
well, I mean, here's the thing. Somehow or another, this is what they've talked about on the local news. So if you folks are not in on the local news, you're going to get a little bit of story here. They somehow found out, or the front office found out this kid had a weapon, or it was reported that he had a weapon. They brought him up to the front office with his bag. They searched his bag, no gun. So they said, well, don't threaten your teacher no more, kid. Go back to class. Went back to class. Apparently, he had the gun.
I don't even know if they did that. More than likely, they heard a report that the kid had it. They went in his classroom, took his backpack, searched it, didn't find anything.
So, oh, he must be clear. Mm-hmm. Didn't search the kid's person, which I can get on one level, because if you search a kid who's 6 years old and they don't have a gun,
well, that's why you don't do it without the police
either.
there.
Yeah.
The police should have been called. This is what gets me, because people are like, oh, they're only 5, they're only 6. It doesn't matter. I've been teaching in an elementary school for 24 years. We have had students taken out of our schools in handcuffs before. Mm-hmm. And it is a shockingly horrible thing to witness.
Yeah.
Because you can't really put the blame on the child.
No,
there's something happening with that child that's either not being addressed in the right way, or, I mean, there's more going on. It's not just a kid who's.
That's a breakdown of that kid's world, or that individual kid's society is a breakdown of that kid's society.
But they can do a lot of damage, even if they're tiny. And here's the thing, like, I can't put my hand, not that I would, but I can't put my hands on them. I can't restrain them. So as long as they're not injuring themselves or others, I mean, obviously, if they're hurting themselves, you do what you have to do. But You just don't put your hands on them.
Yeah.
And that means if they're sitting and kicking at you, which has happened, spitting at you, which has happened, biting at you, which has happened, you can't defend yourself. And you go, well, they're only little. It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
No.
I mean, I'm also wearing a lanyard around my neck that could be pulled at any time. There are things in the classroom that if they're flying through the air are going to hurt somebody if they hit them. So you can't just dismiss it as them being, oh, they're so sweet. And 99.9% of them are. And they're also reasonable and to a degree. And you can, yeah, but this kid was on some kind of care plan, according to his parents, that required one of them to be at school with him. And that week they weren't. I can't think of any kind of disability accommodation that would require a parent to be sitting in. More than likely, the parent is sitting in because the student is violent. And in order to keep the kid in school, a parent has to come to school with them every day. Clearly, if you're under that kind of care plan, and you can't be at the school with your child, then your child doesn't go to school.
There you go.
I mean, if they are that violent and disruptive and distracting and whatever the kid clearly was, because his parents had to be there every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've been in an elementary school for 24 years and have not ever seen that. So there's so many levels to it. You know, the real losers here is the teacher whose apparently voice wasn't heard, the kid who's not being, I mean, maybe now is receiving the kind of care he needs.
Yeah.
But thankfully the teacher is recovering and this wasn't more tragic than it already is.
Yeah.
But some of the stories coming out of it, it's just like you've got to be kidding me.
Oh, she is going to make so much bank. I mean, obviously it's still horrible, and I wish it never had happened. But and I am by no means somebody who's all about sue them. But in this case, you have to sue them.
It's how they're going to learn. Unfortunately, school systems have to learn that way.
Yeah.
And if this isn't a problem just in that one city, although they've had multiple incidents in the last couple of months in this district, this isn't across the country kind of problem. Go to teacher TikTok. Go to TikTok and watch some of the videos that teachers put on TikTok. This is not isolated. These situations are happening everywhere. And if we don't gain control somehow, alternative schools for violent kids or something.
Bring back reform school.
I'm not educated in. My job is to teach kids how to read, not like severe behavioral and whatever interactions with kids that are violent. That's not what I was trained to do.
No.
So anyway, that story doesn't, as a kindergarten teacher, there's a thought of having my kids sitting in front of me all on a carpet while I'm trying to teach them a lesson and having one of them stand up and pull a gun out of their pants and shoot me is something I never thought I would have to consider as being like
never crossed your mind
realistic before. And I think about how easily it could happen because there's nothing stopping a kid from doing that.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, if a kid could get a hold of a gun and had that kind of slant toward being violent, they could put a gun in their backpack. If they don't say anything to anybody, no one would ever know. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Something has to happen. So anyway, yeah, that's not the fun news we've been
let's bring
dealing
back up.
with that
and some happiness on this podcast.
Some personal friends and ours with some diagnoses that are scary, and we definitely want to put nothing but positivity out for that. My birthday was last weekend.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. 52. One of my kids at school said, "How old are you?" And I said 52, and he goes, "Oh, that's old." You're older than my mom. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure by maybe 20 years.
Well, your mom's a whore.
I might be older than your grandma, depending on your.
Because you come from a long line of whores.
No, now listen. I could have had a kid at 25 who had a kid at 25, and that child would be 2. So,
Yeah,
I mean, to have a
I
5-year-old grandchild is not that far off the mark.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny. Just like, oh, that's old.
That's old.
Yeah,
old.
thanks. So we were going to school Friday morning. My birthday was last Friday. No, we didn't go to school did I go to school? Yes, I did. See, I can't remember because I missed the whole week. I was gonna take my birthday off and then didn't because I was out the whole previous week because of Dad.
Yeah. I took it off.
Kevin was off on my birthday.
Yeah, I took it off before all the stuff went down with your dad, and then you felt like you didn't want to do that to Robin.
I couldn't have done it.
I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a single shit. I said, all right, well, fuck all that.
Well,
I'm not going to go to work.
If you take the day off, we can at least go out to dinner or we can do something, you know.
And I made the flank steak for her.
So Kevin's driving me to school, and I'm like, let's just stop at Chick-fil-A for breakfast, which I've gone back hardcore to the intermittent fasting. I started that Monday. Mm-hmm. That Monday of my birthday week.
Yeah.
But anyway, no. It was that no. I only got back to it after my birthday.
Yeah.
This past Monday, which I lost 6 pounds this week.
Good.
Yeah, I normally skip breakfast. I don't eat until 11 o'clock. But I was like, let's go to Chick-fil-A. It's my birthday. I'm gonna get my favorite sausage, egg, and cheese breakfast. So it was Friday the 13th. We were a little late getting out of the house for some reason. I can't remember what happened that got us late. Ordered through the phone like I always do, pulled in like I always do. And we get to the window and they said they had sent the car in front of us off the park to wait for their food. And we get up there. Which is never
a good sign.
And they're like, can you park in that, spot number 2, whatever. We're like, sure. So we pull up and we wait. And then we notice the car behind us pulls up, and then the car behind them pulls up.
A thing of 2 biscuits, a thing of
hash browns,
and a drink.
Yeah.
That's it.
Not anything strange. Mm-hmm. We waited, what would you say? 10,
we
15
were there
minutes?
About 10 minutes, yeah. 10 minutes waiting.
And so I was like, I'm not gonna be late for work. My version of being late for work is being less than a half an hour early for work.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be running late. And so finally the girl comes out and she says, oh, we're so sorry for the delay. We were waiting on folded yellow.
And we were like, what?
Yeah, we were like, okay.
What the fuck is that?
And then
you're like, obviously, it's eggs. She's talking about eggs. Because, you order a steak.
Why not just say egg?
Or whatever.
Sorry, we were just waiting on the eggs.
She said folded egg. Or folded yellow. So it's like, oh, we got a little peek into what happens in the Chick-fil-A. They just called it folded yellow because it's just a pouring of
something. Is there an unfolded yellow or a folded white?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there probably is. They probably do egg whites.
They do egg whites. Yeah, so they probably call it folded white.
But instead of calling it a egg white or egg, they go folded yellow, folded white. So there's no way they are breaking it down to the color of the item that has to go on the biscuit for the, but, so that they don't make a mistake, and they rarely make a mistake.
And most of the time, they're the most efficient place you can go. Is just that Friday the 13th, they were just doing nothing but fucking up, and apparently it was because of the folded yellow. And now you know why the name of the episode is Folded Yellow.
Oh, is that what we're calling our episode? Folded Yellow. People will see that and they'll be like, "What the fuck? Do they work for Chick-fil-A?" So we thought that was kind of funny. I had a really sweet day at school. We did lunch in the classroom with the kids. Mm-hmm. And Robin brought in these little brownie bites and these little mini donuts. And we watched Finding Nemo for a little while we were having lunch. That was real sweet.
That's actually one of the best Pixar movies, Finding Nemo. It's like such a... it's an emotional roller coaster. Because you have the main character, which is Marlin, mm-hmm. who is not by any stretch remotely a hero, who becomes a hero because he's got to save his kid, and it's that aspect. He's got to save
his disabled kid.
Yeah, that aspect of it is fantastic. Now he's learning stuff along the way. You meet Bruce the Shark, which is a big shout out to Jaws. Good for that. But it's just, I think that's one of the best Pixar movies. The Incredibles are the best Pixar movies, but that's right up there.
Yeah. So it was a nice day, and then Kevin made my favorite flank steak and rice meal for dinner, and I got a cake from Sugar Plum Bakery that was delicious. And so that weekend, as far as the diet went, was a little bit off, where I stopped worrying about it, and I ate cake every day for like 3 days in a row.
Sugar Plum's a good place to get for you local folks. Great place to get a cake. It's really, really good cake. It's a little bit more expensive than you're going to pay,
it, though.
But it is worth it. Yeah.
It's worth it. It was so good.
Yeah.
And I got, Kevin got the Apple Watch for me for my birthday, which is funny because I'm not really the watch type, but I've been thinking about it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to try it. I've had it for a week?
A week, yeah.
And I love it. I've had it for longer than a week, maybe 2 weeks. Now I'm like, I don't think I could live without it. So we went today and got Kevin one too. So now we can sync up. There's a walkie-talkie feature on there that's really cool. We could just call each other, but now we can walkie-talkie each other.
I would say I could do that while I'm at the store, but the Verizon's got shit service around here. So
bad around here. We went into the Verizon store today. Speaking of shit service, I went with Kevin to Walmart. I walked all the way through the Walmart grocery shopping today.
Yeah, you were
Didn't get a cart. I walked it the whole way, only because I wasn't going to go in at all. And then as we were pulling in, I said, all right, I'll go ahead and go in with you. I'll just drive a little cart. And as we're pulling in, I see my friend Robin and Troy walking in, and I'm like, damn it, I can't be seen in the shopping cart. So I'll have to walk, which was fine. I did good.
You got a regular cart.
Regular cart, just regular
push cart,
push cart, yeah. I thought I did pretty well.
You did really well.
I bailed in the line, and I went and sat in the bench and waited for Kevin because I just can't stand.
I made a mistake. My thought was I really don't like dealing with the bags.
Like, let's just do self-checkout. He goes, no, I don't want to deal with bagging all my own stuff. I'm like, all right.
And that was a mistake. I should have went ahead and just funnel with the bags.
So we got in the line, which was the shortest line, but with the slowest cashier in the history of cashiers, I think.
It's like Slowpoke Rodriguez.
I went and I told Kevin, I said, I'm just going to go sit on the bench and wait because I just can't just stand here this whole time. And we waited. There was one person at the register being rung up, one person waiting, and then Kevin. So Kevin was second in line after the person who was halfway done being checked out.
Yeah, but that dude had a fuck ton of stuff.
He had one cart full of stuff.
Yeah. The lady had a lot of stuff. Well, she didn't have a lot of stuff. She had big stuff.
But anyway, we waited for that longer than it took us to do all of our shopping.
Yeah.
But we waited in line and we took our own turn.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't step in front of anybody or take someone else's turn. We waited patiently without complaint. And then we went to Verizon, and we went in the Verizon. There was a clerk at the front of the store with a customer. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And a man walked in ahead of us, and then we walked in, and then an elderly couple walked in behind us. And so the guy was finishing up with the customer. That person left, and he's like, who can I help? And I said, this man was here first. He goes, all right, I'm going to take him, but I'm going to put you on the waiting list. So he put us on the waiting list, and then he got the elderly couple's information and put them on the waiting list. 2 other people working in the back of the store with customers. So we're sitting waiting. And another clerk comes out from the back. He obviously had been on lunch or something. And he's walking up. I got a text on my phone, my watch, that said we're next in line, right? He comes walking up. The elderly couple, the man, says to him, are you just coming back from a break? Are you like just coming out? And he goes, yeah. Well, I just have a quick question. I just have this quick question.
Which is a lie. Old people don't just have
he's
quick
like,
questions.
my wife can't, she can call other people fine, but can't call my phone. For some reason, my phone's not accepting her calls. And so the guy was like, oh, well, let me see what I can do to help you. So I was like, well, okay. We were next in line. They were behind us. We even offered to give them our seat on the bench when they came in. And the woman was like, oh, that's so sweet of you, but no, we're fine, blah, 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 blah. So I'm sitting there. He's in his phone playing a game, so he's oblivious to what's happening. I'm telling you, he's so oblivious at places. The world could be coming down around him, and he probably wouldn't notice. Someone got shot and was sitting in a parking lot at a restaurant we were at, and he didn't even know.
That's true.
As another, you go back some podcasts because we've told that story.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm not really going to get pissed at these elderly people. Like, they have less time left on earth than I do. So let them go and do it. I'm sure it will only take a minute.
That's why they cut in line. They don't have much time left. So waiting in line.
And what am I going to do? I'm not going to walk up there and be some kind of
look, yo, bitch, get out of my way.
Right. So that's fine. Then, while that was going on, this woman walks in with her 11-year-old-ish daughter, 10, 11, and they start looking at phone cases. And I said to Kevin, why would you come here to buy a phone case? Because you can go on Amazon and buy a phone case for a third of the cost of what you can buy at Verizon.
Which my thought to that is that I get this from talking to customers for my job. They will stick with what's in the company because they feel like that's the easiest thing to do. And a lot of times it is.
And that's why the company charges you 3 times as much money.
Yeah, and a lot of times it is, but that's it. There is a cost for it. So when they say, "Oh, I'll go and get my phone here. I'll get my case here. I'll get my chargers here. Oh, I need another charger. I'll get my charger here. I'll get my car charger here," which you are definitely paying that Verizon markup because that shit is 3 times as more expensive.
You're paying. They're even more expensive at like Walmart. Go to Amazon.
The only thing I'll let them do is put the shield on the front of the case.
You don't even have to do that anymore. They've fixed that. So those are so easy to do.
For you. For me, with these ham hock fingers, it's a little more difficult.
So anyway, we're sitting there. The elderly people are being waited on, and I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. The mom and the daughter are looking at phone cases and then looking at phones, and they haven't even been checked in. So one of the people who's working in the back of the store starts to walk to the front. I'm assuming to come and find us because we were next on the list. The woman with the daughter stops her and starts asking questions. And so that woman gets wrapped up in dealing with this woman who, because I'm listening into everybody's conversations, because I can't talk to him because he's playing Candy Crush or whatever.
Royal match.
Sorry. The daughter has an iPhone 11 Pro, and the mom has an iPhone 13, and they want to switch so that the daughter has the iPhone 13. And so this is the process of them like switching her phone and then phone, just switching number accounts, whatever. And I'm like, God damn it. So this woman now who's not even on the waiting list is now being helped. So that's when I started getting pissed off. And my pissed off face is the same as my normal face because I'm not about to go and make a big complaint.
It's not really the same. You're not as bad as like Michael, but you can tell.
I mean, I'm not all smiley.
Yeah, but you can tell that you're pissed,
irritated.
Yes,
you might be able to tell because you know me.
Yeah,
the average person probably can't tell.
Yeah.
So this woman's helping her, and I'm like, son of a bitch! Like, maybe these people think they're just more important than everyone else.
Yeah, she didn't give a single shit.
While that woman's helping her, another man walks in, and then another man walks in. So now I'm waiting. I'm on the list. The 2 people that are being helped both arrived after me. Now there's 2 more people. So the one man goes and he stands by the wall. And I said to myself, if that man gets helped before me, we're just leaving because this is bullshit. Guy comes up and he comes over to me and he says, are you on the waiting list? And I said, yes. Okay, let me just go check and make sure everyone else is on the list. So he goes to the woman with the kid, who the girl helping her has left. And he says, "Are you on the list?" She goes, "No, I was being helped by a woman, but I don't know. I think she went off to help somebody else." And I'm like, karma. Oh, okay. So she never got on the
Take
list.
that, bitch.
Then he goes to the first man that came in, who's standing there. Guy says, "Yeah, this is my number." He goes, "But I just ordered something online. I'm just here to pick it up." Okay, well, let me just go get it for you. That turned into I don't know what. It wasn't just here's your shit
and go. He was like, "Well, what do I do with this shit?" And then it became, "Well, what do we do with that shit?"
Then he became helping that guy, and I'm like, all right, man. I'm like ready to just. We were a half an hour in. Mm-hmm. My text message saying we were next in line was 30 minutes, and then all these 3 other people were being helped. So finally, I was like minutes away from just going,
fuck it,
screw it. And the original clerk, who was the first one who took my number in the first place, came up and he was like, are you Mrs. Rose? And I said, "Yes, I am." And he goes, "Oh, what can we do for you today?" And we knew I said, "We want the Apple Watch 8 in this color. I just want to add that to the account and, a line for it, whatever."
Damn.
We were 15 minutes, maybe. He's like, "Oh, all right, let me go see." Got it. We were out of there. All the other people, the elderly people had left.
Yeah.
I could never be the person that would knowingly or without even saying, "Well, I think those people were there before us." In fact, I did that when we went in, because the man came to us first.
Yeah, I do it all
and
the time.
And I said, he came in before me. I would never be the person that would just walk up. Now, you see all these people standing around waiting to be helped. You just walked in the store. You think that this person's... the amount of disregard it takes. Mm-hmm. Because if you didn't notice, that's just disregard also. Mm-hmm. That is you just not giving a shit about anyone else around you. And I was if that guy hadn't been, he was real cool and he got us out of there so fast. If he hadn't been so cool with us and it wasn't Johnny on the spot and we were in and out of there and
that guy was awesome. He like, "Oh, I'll be right back." Comes back out with it. He's got it in his hand. Didn't have a table to work with. He's got 3 devices he's doing shit on and balancing stuff. And I was like, man, those rookies over there have to have a table, but you're just doing it on the fly. And everything
what we had was easy. There were people sitting at the back counter being helped that were in there when we got there. Yeah. I'm like, what are they trying to purchase a car? Because I don't know what was going on with those people. Yeah. But I was just really irritated.
Yeah.
It just, the lack of consideration for other people that I see happening all over the place just drives me insane.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
That happened to me when I was, before we found out your mom had COVID, we had to go to Norfolk to get Dad's push chair. Mm-hmm. He's got a push chair that Mom can pull in and out of the van. It weighs about 30 pounds. It's a little harder for her to pick up, but she can do it. But anyway, while we were in Norfolk, which was a whole different world, it was kind of interesting. But we, of course, if I'm with my mother-in-law and we were, the place wasn't open yet, what are we going to do? I guess we're going to Starbucks. So we go to Starbucks and it had a weird parking lot. But as I'm pulling in, there's a guy trying to pull out and I'm like, oh, I backed up a little bit so he can get through. And I don't ask for much. I don't. And I'm patient beyond belief. She'll tell you that.
It's true.
But there's one thing that just pisses me off. If you can't give me that little bit of cordial...
He wants a wave.
I want the nod. I'll even be like, just give me the nod. Give me the nod. I'm happy with that. That guy basically hit his face as he drove by. You motherfucker. You son of a bitch. You can't give me that. You can't even give me the nod. I done got out your way so you can get through. Fuck you, man.
Yeah, that stuff really drives you crazy.
I can't. I get so pissed.
And he goes out of his way to if he gets in front of a person, he's like, "Thank you." He's yelling like they can hear him, but all out the back window.
Making sure my hand is clearly visible for the wave. Sometimes I even roll the window down and be like, put my hand up. Hey, thank you.
Yeah, that really grates on you.
It really does. Just a
That's
little common courtesy.
funny. One of those things. I don't even notice that.
Yeah.
I
It pisses me off. It pisses me off. I can't stand that shit. That I was so pissed that your mom was laughing. She was just thinking it was hilarious that I was so pissed about it. But I
Thanks
told
for
her,
did you yell? Thanks for ruining my
thanks
day.
for ruining my day. Oh, I was so pissed. But Norfolk's cool because they had like the scooters all around, and we actually saw some people riding the little scooters, the electric scooters they have. Apparently, they just you can take them
And leave them
swipe your
anywhere.
card, go to wherever you're going, drop it, leave it, and fucking just walk away from it.
I don't know if you're supposed to just leave it anywhere. I think people just do leave it anywhere.
No, you're supposed to leave it anywhere.
Really?
Yeah, they track them and then they pick them up. But
Mm.
so yeah,
You pay for them.
you pay as you use them. You have to swipe a card to get it to work.
So yeah, there's that. And then so Kevin got the Apple Watch for me for my birthday, and I got a solo stove, a smokeless fire pit that I can't wait. I'm so excited to like do I've been watching all the videos and reading all the information, and like I can't wait to get out there and do a fire. Yeah. It would have been if we had really nice weather like we had this week over the weekend. I think we'd be out there tonight.
Yeah,
because this week was nice. It was like in the 60s, perfect for a bonfire. But alas, Michael wants to know if we need him to pick up anything at the store.
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Cookies? No.
No.
No, we don't need cookies.
What else? We talked about the folded yellow.
Yeah.
Talked about my birthday.
Talked about birthday. Well, now it's time for some cards. Let's see.
We haven't done this in a while. Riveting.
Yeah, I should have prepped beforehand, but what are you gonna do? All right.
Oh, before we get into this though, the Apple Watch. I'm a numbers person. I like to see charts and numbers, and like I guess I'm a data person, really. I do it with my kids at school. We just gave this test last week, like a mid-year evaluation. And I took all their scores and like added it up and compared it to their fall eval and how many points they improved and all of this. I like to see, numbers proving that they're making progress. 2 kids, like one of the parts of the test is you say words one sound at a time and they have to blend it together and tell you what the word is. So you say like it, and they say sit. 2 separate kids, I think the word was I can't remember what the word was, but they both told me the word was shit. I can't remember what the word actually was. Clearly it wasn't shit. That wasn't the word. Might have been fish. That might have been it. Fish. And they went shit. And one of them said it and then never acknowledged it. The other one said it and then she's like, I just said a bad word. I said, yes, you did, but it's okay. You didn't mean to say that.
You fucked up, but it's
funny.
Okay.
So I like to see the numbers. So the Apple Watch, one of the cool things about it and what's been motivating me to move more and all, I do the intermittent fasting. So I do a 16-hour fast and then I eat within it the 8-hour window. So I really eat 2 meals a day. I eat lunch and dinner. Usually ends up being more food on the weekends than it is. Although today I did not break my fast this morning. We just ate late. We had a late breakfast.
By the way, Dunkin' doesn't do folded yellow. They actually have an egg.
They do regular yellow. Is that that might be the unfolded yellow?
It had white and yellow in it.
Oh, that was a white and yellow.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they call it, a white and yellow.
White and yellow.
So anyway, one of the features on the Apple Watch is the fitness or the activity tracker. So it's got a red ring that goes around the outside that measures your movement, how much you're moving during the day. And then there's a exercise ring that's green. Mine rarely moves unless I'm exercising, which isn't often. And then there's a standing. So like you have to stand for at least 1 minute every hour. And so you get this little rings, and that's been my thing. I'm like, oh, I got to get this ring closed. And I think that's been helping me move a lot more.
Mm-hmm. You've been doing a lot more like that.
Actually, on one of my
you
breaks, I took a little mini walk.
You go into the store. You're like the last time I come pick you up. You wanted me to pick you up front instead of going to the bus loop, which is like half the walking.
I will admit, my knee hurts.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm not having a flare up, an arthritis flare up or anything, but it is achy more at night. Mm-hmm. I notice I have a harder time falling asleep because my knees ache. Yeah. But that's just going to be part of the problem. I mean,
some dual action before you
see, I take dual action in the morning, and that's what gets me through the day.
Well, just take one more night. Just add it to your nightly regimen.
I don't know. I don't want to get.
You're not going to get addicted to dual action.
I'm not going to get addicted. I just don't want to.
Just so y'all know what we're talking about. We're talking about a dual action. It's a Advil and Tylenol mix. It's on the shelves for Advil. It's their thing, but it's basically generic Tylenol mixed in with Advil.
Another cool thing, and I know I'm really late to the Apple Watch game, but another really cool thing is it measures your heart rate. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm walking and my heart rate is elevated, it measures like how many minutes of the day I have an elevated heart rate. I can check my heart rate at any time. Mm-hmm. I can check my blood oxygen level at any time. I can do an ECG to see if my heart's in normal sinus rhythm. Mm-hmm. All these really cool like health features that I'm finding kind of like reassuring. Like, yes, I'm not, dying. Yeah. I like to convince myself. Not so much anymore. I think I've gotten really better.
Yeah, you got
a lot better with it. But sorry,
that's
right. It bothered me to have it really low like that.
So you want to go first?
I guess I'll go first. Let's see. Are you a good date?
I can
How would I answer that question?
You're a great date. Best date I ever went on.
Okay, I'm gonna take his answer for that.
There you go.
We don't really date.
Well, we're married 15 years, so
yeah.
We
should go out on more dates.
We should.
We don't have many of them, but we should do more.
Well, next Saturday we'll do a date night next Saturday.
You go to Blue Pete's?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll let you know how that goes. Blue Pete's is really one of my favorite places to go around here. So, yeah.
Get some fried shrimp.
Shrimp. Yeah. Sit down. Have you ever turned down an opportunity because of fear? I think everybody has. I don't think there's anybody alive who hasn't had some sort of opportunity and said, you know what, that's not a good idea. I'm not doing it. And maybe good, maybe bad, but yeah, I mean, that's normal human response.
A lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, sometimes you got to take a risk, but there is such thing as a smart risk and a dumb risk. So, act accordingly.
What's the funniest thing your inner child wants?
Captain America's shield. I don't know.
I knew it was going to have something to do with some sort of Marvel thing. Captain America's shield.
One of my favorite things from Christmas was a few years back. We got Mike a mock-up of Thor's hammer. He had the best reaction I've ever seen from a person, from an adult getting a Christmas gift. It was great. He posted it on Facebook, and he was like saying, I got Thor's hammer. I got Thor's hammer. Praise me. Praise me. Praise the shit out of me. And I was like, that's the best.
I didn't even want silly things when I was a child. Yeah. Like when I was a kid, to me, the gifts I remember getting the most were a word processor. Like this was before computers were even a real thing. But it was this big screen and you could type into it. I thought that was the coolest shit ever. Mm-hmm. And a boombox I remember getting, because I did used to blare music pretty loudly in my bedroom. But I mean, I wasn't like into dolls or Barbies or anything like that.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my students brought in something yesterday, and Robin was like, "Oh my God, I saw this, and like, doesn't this give you flashbacks?" And it was fashion plates. Do you remember? You probably don't remember. Girls used to play with fashion plates, and so you had these little plates that you would put, and it would be like a top and a dress and or a pants or whatever, and you'd put all the plates in and make this outfit, and then you'd put the paper over it, and you'd take the pencils and you'd, you know, like, what do you call it? You wouldn't draw, but you rub your pencil over it, and it would give the impression of the outfit. Yes. Yeah. And then you go color it in fashion plates. It's like, holy crap. I haven't seen that kind of stuff. Yeah. But spirograph. I used to love spirograph. But I don't know. That's been a very long time since I was interested in any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Although I do color on my iPad every day.
Yeah.
And I still have a painting of my dog that I have to do that I got for Christmas 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah. You?
No, it's you.
Oh, okay. Which of your parents' quirks made you nuts? God. My dad used to say the same like 5 or 6 phrases, which now I just wish I could hear him say it. But things like he talked about his kidneys, which is really he was talking about his brain. So I got them kidneys, pointing at his head, stuff like that.
I know someone else who does that. The same 5 or 6 phrases. Kevin is
the apple
did
not fall very far from the tree.
Like that. Yeah, I do what I can. What was the question? What quirks of my parents made me nuts?
I guess your dad lying to you and making it sound so convincing that years later you come back with
telling me stories like of snapgrass and shit that I used to believe until I was in college.
Like he wrote Muppet songs.
Is that on him or on me?
That's on you.
Yeah, that's on me. I'm a grown up. I was a grown adult when I realized my dad did not write the Phenomena song, or that snapgrass was not real. The raisins are dead flies. I didn't believe for very long, but as a kid, I wouldn't eat raisins because of that.
Which is weird. Your dad loves raisins. I guess it was a way to keep you from eating.
Maybe. We used to have chores as kids, and my parents both worked like Saturdays a lot, and so we would have to get up and we would have chores to do while they were off at work. And whether we did minimal effort chores or we busted our ass to do like real deal clean the house chores, the first comment was always something we didn't do. That used to drive me nuts.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm like, I did all this other stuff. You're going to point out the one thing rather than say, oh, the kitchen looks great or, whatever. So that as a teenager used to make me kind of crazy. But I mean, what doesn't make you crazy as a teenager about your parents? You know what I'm saying? Do you offer good advice?
I try not to offer advice. If somebody asks me for it, I think I give good advice, but I don't offer it. I don't, I'm not one to throw my shit on people. I'll throw an opinion out, but as far as like advice, it's like, no, you got your own problems. You figure that shit out. If you want my advice, I'll give it to you, but I'm not going to just offer it without solicitation.
I try not to do that too. I try to just listen and like, I don't want to get into that, telling them what I think they should do or whatever. Usually I just kind of listen to the problem. And again, if they ask me what should I do about it, which generally I don't have anyone in my life that really asks me that. Sometimes I'll catch myself like comparing what they're going through to something I've gone through. And so I tend to like turn the conversation back to me a lot. I try really hard not to do that. I have to make a conscious effort not to like compare what someone's going through into something that I've been through.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I may give shitty advice and I just don't know.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't think I give advice though, really. I think I'm like you.
Yeah. Don't offer it up.
I mean, I can't make up my mind what to do for myself more than half the time. So
Yeah.
why would I give anybody else advice?
And like I said, if you ain't asking me for it, I ain't doing it. So I'll throw out my opinion. But have you ever read a book that changed your life? I would say that changed my life, but
Never read a book that changed my life. I mean, not that totally changed the direction of my life in any way.
mm.
I have read books that have made me like reconsider things
Oh
or
yeah.
Think about something in a different way. I'm not a nonfiction reader. I'm a fiction reader. So I read The Shack. The Shack had an impact on me.
Yeah. I remember that when you read that.
Uh-huh. And I've had a few other books that have really, I mean, there was one of the books in the Harry Potter series that had an impact on me.
Mm.
I'm not enough of a Harry Potter fan to know which specific book it was. I want to say Prisoner of Azkaban, but I'm not sure. But it's the one where Sirius Black came in. He was like the only family connection Harry had. And then like when he, spoiler alert, if you haven't, like when he died, it just like ripped me apart,
Mm.
you know? But nothing that actually like changed my life,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that either. I mean, I've learned a lot. I do read nonfiction, and I've learned a lot from reading the nonfiction. But I have trouble reading fiction aside from comic books because it just I can't picture shit in my head. Uh, I've read Tom Clancy, and he's very descriptive in his writing, so that was a little. And King is real descriptive in his writing, but I need to sleep, so I don't read a whole lot of King, but it's just one of those things. Nothing was so much of an influence that I was like, I'm changing the direction of my life. You know, I guess that can happen to people, but I would think people's decisions are based more on what's happening out in the real world. You know, the direction of my life has been changed by things like when I fucked my leg up and I had to quit school. That changed my life. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when I left Canon, that changed my life. That set my life in a whole different direction. When I met you, changed my life, set my life in a completely different direction. So it's more, I think events have more influence. But if you read something and it changes your life, that's fantastic. I mean, that's, great. Have at it.
For book club this month, I was supposed to read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I didn't get very far into it. And then a
You
lot of
just
other
didn't give
things.
a
We
fuck.
had family here, and like then I just haven't had a lot of like I read at night and I've been super tired at night.
Yeah.
I do want to read it, so I still have it in my, I will get to it. But I would love to learn how not to give a fuck about so much. So
You're getting there.
I think I am getting there.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm giving up a lot of all my fucks are going away. Give a fucks are going away.
Fuck it.
Do you generally date people who are crazier or saner than you?
Oh, you're definitely saner than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly when we were just dating. When I was driving around in a fucking creepy van. I was working a Halloween show. There's no way that should have worked out.
There really is no way that should have worked out.
Yeah.
Knowing me and how like particular I can be about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
It just hit at that certain exact right moment in my life.
That was the other thing.
On paper, it really was like, I don't know. These two,
that was kind of cool.
They're very different.
When I was tooling around Norfolk with your mom, we drove past Blair Middle School, which is where
Did you tell her all the stories of it? I'm sure you did.
I ran through a few of them anyway. There's a lot of stuff that happened in that school. It was nice.
All right. What's your next one?
Next. When does your father's voice haunt me? My father's voice haunts me quite a bit, actually. I miss my dad a lot, but it's just one of those things.
Because the voice shouldn't haunt you.
haunt is a bad word for it. It's like you said, when I'm saying the same five phrases that I use all the time, that I'm like, okay, that's I get from my pop.
And Kevin's
So,
building his own nativity collection for
yeah,
the yard for the
yeah.
Christmas decorations.
I felt them a lot over this past Christmas holiday because of that. And yeah, I get it. It's just, I know it's silly, but you know,
My dad's voice doesn't really haunt me, except for when we were in the hospital and he was sleeping. He looked at me and he said, "Death watch."
that was fucked
That might
up.
haunt me for a little while. He apparently was aware of that, though. He was not asleep when he said that because he
Yeah.
remembered saying that.
And he wasn't like, he was not in his right mind for a good portion of that, and apparently he was. But
It's funny because we were talking about it, and I'm like, when he was in the hospital and going through all like that hallucination stuff, I could tell when he was clear-headed and trying to be funny, and when he really just believed something was happening that wasn't happening. Because he made a couple of comments that we were like, oh my god. But I'm like, I think that was Dad's sense of humor more to get at us. And I think the Death Watch was one of those, like where he was just like,
I think he was coming out of it. He got some sleep and he was able to do the. But
it
he was,
funny.
when the funniest thing was when listening to him talk about, because he remembers the hallucinations. Like the hallucinations might as well have happened. He remembers it clearly.
Very detailed, and he told a lot of different people the same exact details
Yeah.
about this MRI that he had.
So it was crazy. It's like,
it must have been a very
kind of
vivid.
cool though, because you got this great memory of something that was so shitty.
And he thought was awesome. He thought it was great. Okay. What's the best piece of marital advice ever given to you? Marital advice.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember. It's just, treat her nice, I guess. That's what your dad said. Just be nice to my little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that we've gotten marital advice. We haven't really needed it.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think people have. I think people look at us as, oh, these people got it figured out.
I think the key to it though is just like a flat out brutal honesty and openness. You have to be comfortable with like telling that person something you wouldn't think of ever telling someone else. And I think that's kind of always where it takes a lot of trust, because I mean, we've been together for a long time, so there's not any question about trust ever. But in the beginning, it's like, oh, I don't want to say this or do that because, you don't know how that person's going to react to it. You're better off just honesty all the time and dealing with fallout, if there is fallout, early on in the relationship, because if you don't have that honesty and trust with each other, nothing else matters.
There you go.
So I'm sure there are money things that I tell Kevin that he probably is like, or I don't hide purchases from him and that kind of thing.
No, yeah. I mean, she's not asking for permission. I mean, kind of sounds like she's asking for permission, but I'm like, yeah, go ahead, do it.
I mean, if I'm buying
it's something that
on
I think is
joint, like I have like a clothing store card, I don't ask. I generally will just order stuff on that.
Yeah.
But like if I'm putting something on a credit card or whatever, I just run it past you.
There we go. And I don't buy anything ever. I run to the store. Well, I run to the store every day. Every day.
Kevin has a thing where, he does go to the store every day.
Yeah.
And if he's got cash money in his pocket, it goes super fast.
Yeah.
Whereas if I have cash, I'll hold on to it for a long time.
Yeah.
Kevin the cash is like, oh, we just got $100 yesterday in your wallet. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, well, I use
the store.
I'll use it before. If I have cash, I'll use that before I use the.
See, I'm the opposite. I'll use the card before I use the cash.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
That makes me spend less though when I have cash.
It's true.
Because I'll sit there and I'm like, that's when I don't do my normal thing. Was like, well, we need one. Well, let's go ahead and grab two. So that's what I do. So.
All right, one more, and then we got to go fix dinner.
Here we go. To what degree does the daily news affect your mood?
We've answered Some of these questions I think we've answered before.
Well, in this past week, because of some of the bigger stories, like the young lady who got shot,
And Alec Baldwin
getting charged. I'm pretty sure he's going to beat that.
He's not going to.
He's not going to beat it. I think he's going to plead down. He'll plead down to something to where he's not going to do any time. So, but and honestly, this is one of those things where it's such a fluke thing. But I mean, he fucked up. He did fuck up, and the armor fucked up a lot. She's definitely going to have to. I don't think she's going to be able to plead down.
No, she's probably going to go to jail.
Yeah, she's probably going.
There were other things that happened on that set that should have been happening.
Yeah,
and he, as the producer and whatever, it's his responsibility.
Yeah, yeah.
And from what I hear, like, you make a movie with a gun, you are responsible for checking to make sure that gun is clear. Like the person who put it in your hand told you it was clear. Mm-hmm. It's your responsibility to check it and you're trained. They're trained how to check the weapons and make sure they're clear before they go.
If it goes to trial, though, it'll be interesting because they'll be calling like George Clooney. What do you do when you get a gun? I clear it. I clear it myself.
Every time. He does.
And he probably
He's never accidentally shot anybody.
Yeah. So.
Oh, anyway, we're going to go make a new chicken and dumpling recipe that I saw today. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it turns out good.
That's why we're in the store.
That's why we're in the store, and I'm making French toast casserole for book club tomorrow, which I had to pick stuff up for that too. Boom. So I gotta go. I gotta put that together. We're gonna kick some ass.
All right. So we gotta go. Bye, everybody.